So, what in the world does a massive new steel plant have to do with cutting-edge healthcare AI? I know, on the surface, it sounds like they have absolutely nothing in common. But in Louisiana, they're actually two sides of the same coin in what might be one of the most ambitious state-level reinventions I've ever come across. All right, let's dive into this blueprint and see how the state is literally trying to forge a path from heavy industry to a high-tech future. And this really gets to the heart of the whole question we're tackling here. How do you build a bridge between a $5.8 billion low-carbon steel complex and this, super sophisticated, data-driven AI workforce you need to revolutionize public health? It seems impossible, right? But Louisiana's big bet is that the sheer economic gravity of that steel plant can create the momentum and the workforce needed to solve a completely different but just as critical problem in public health. You see, this whole initiative is designed to solve what the source documents call the dual challenge. And I want you to think of it like a monster with two heads that Louisiana is trying to slay at the same time. Because, well, fixing one without the other just doesn't work. Now, what's really interesting here is how clearly this lays out those two problems. On the left, you've got the data wall. And this isn't just a tech problem. It's a real barrier to getting good care, where your critical patient information gets trapped in all these different agencies' silos. And then on the right, you've got the talent gap, which shows that even if you had the most perfect data system in the world, without the right people to run it, it's just a very, very expensive paperweight. So the bottom line here is the real-world impact of these issues. That data wall, it leads to dangerous gaps in care and just so much wasted money. The talent gap, it stalls innovation and means we can't even use the data we do have effectively. It's a classic vicious cycle. But the solution, believe it or not, starts in a very unexpected place. Now, if you were to guess what the catalyst for a digital health revolution would be, you'd probably say big tech, right? Or maybe a major university. But in Louisiana, the engine for all this change is heavy industry. And this is the first major clue in how this whole puzzle fits together. And that engine is being powered by a massive $5.8 billion investment from Hyundai for a new low-carbon steel complex. This is not just about creating industrial jobs, it's about creating this powerful demand for a high-tech, data-savvy workforce that can then be used across a whole bunch of different sectors in the state's economy. And that industrial need creates this amazing three-part system. Just look at how these gears interlock. The demand for that high-tech workforce, driven by the steel plant, provides the momentum. That workforce, trained by places like Baton Rouge and River Parishes Community Colleges, becomes the talent pool you need to run both the industrial systems and this new technology platform, which is called CareKey. And here's where we see that convergence of capability in action. You've got River Parishes Community College on the ground, handling the technical training for all the robotics and machining needed at the plant. At the same time, Baton Rouge Community College is the academic lead, building the curriculum for AI and data stewardship. This whole initiative is being championed by leaders like Tim Hardy, the chair of the Board of Supervisors at LCTCS, who are all in on turning students into active health data stewards and AI ethicists. Okay, so with that workforce pipeline being built, we can now look at the specific technology they're being trained to manage, the tool that's designed to smash right through that data wall we talked about. It's called CareKey. Now, CareKey is a fundamentally different approach. See, instead of your data living on some hospital's server somewhere, it's built on a whole new model. You can see there's an identity layer right on your phone, a logic layer connecting to records, and a network layer securing the whole thing. It's designed to get away from those centralized silos and put the control directly into your hands, the patient. And they do that through a concept called self-sovereign identity, or SSI. The analogy here is just perfect. Right now, your health data is basically in a bank's vault. You have to ask for permission just to see it. SSI is like taking your valuables out of the bank and putting them in your own digital wallet. You hold it. You control who gets the keys. But that brings up a huge question, right? If everyone's data is locked up in their private wallet, how can we possibly do public health research, like spotting a disease outbreak? Well, this is where the system gets really, really clever. It uses what's called a privacy shield to generate insights without ever exposing who you are. It does this using something called zero-knowledge proofs. Okay, think about a bouncer at a bar. You show your ID to prove you're over 21, but in the process, they also learn your name, your address, everything. A zero-knowledge proof is like a magic ID that just flashes a green light that says, yup, they're over 21 and that's it. It reveals that one necessary fact and absolutely nothing else. It's a total game changer for privacy. So the tech sounds incredible, but where do you test something like this? Well, instead of picking some easy environment, this blueprint goes straight for the ultimate stress test, the Louisiana Department of Corrections. They're focusing on one of the most broken, difficult transitions in the entire system. So here's how the pilot fixes that broken circuit. Step 1, while an inmate is in custody, their health history gets digitized. Step 2, the release. This is the critical moment. Instead of just being pushed out the door with a box of their stuff, they get a warm handoff, the digital keys to their own health records in their CareKey wallet. So then, in step 3, they can walk into a community clinic, grant permission with their phone, and get seamless, continuous care. No gaps. But the system goes beyond just medical data. This right here is the Smart Essentials loop, and it's how we get back to those work boots I mentioned at the beginning. The system can actually predict needs that are social determinants of health, like, say, proper footwear for a job, and then use technology to automatically fill that need. So how does this actually work in the real world? Okay, imagine the AI identifies a need for steel-toe boots for someone who's re-entering the workforce. Instead of some slow, bureaucratic process, a smart contract is instantly triggered. It places an order not with some national big-box store, but directly with a local Louisiana partner, like BMO Ventures up in Monroe. They fill the order, and they get paid instantly. It creates this amazing microeconomy that keeps tax dollars inside the state. So, when you zoom out from this one specific pilot, you can really start to see the larger vision. This isn't just about one program. It's about building a completely new kind of infrastructure for the entire state economy. And this slide really gets to the heart of the economic philosophy behind this whole project. Usually, technology extracts capital from rural areas and sends it straight to Silicon Valley. The goal here is the exact opposite, to use technology to speed up the flow of money within those local communities, creating what they call rural capital velocity. And this isn't just a dream, there's a grounded plan. They're in phase 1 right now, building the foundation. Phase 2 is the pilot program we just talked about, and phase 3 is all about scaling this model to the entire state. It's an ambitious roadmap for sure, but it's a logical one. So, this entire Louisiana experiment, from the steel mills all the way to these digital wallets, it really forces us to ask a pretty fundamental question. It introduces this idea of data citizenship, that we should be the drivers of our own information, not just passive passengers along for the ride. Which, leaves me with one final thought for you. Who holds the keys to your data?